What if a stranger appeared on the side of the road, asking for a ride, only to vanish without a trace? For decades, tales of ghostly hitchhikers have been passed down from one terrified traveler to another, but one haunting encounter stands out among them all. Tonight, we delve into the eerie mystery of the Phantom Hitchhiker, one of the most chilling real-life ghost encounters ever recorded. This story goes beyond the realm of urban legends, leaving us with questions that are far from easily answered. The Phantom Hitchhiker is a ghostly figure, usually described as a young man or woman in distress, thumbing a ride on a lonely stretch of road late at night. They often appear when the driver least expects it, silently standing in the shadows, waiting for help. Once the unsuspecting driver agrees to give them a lift, the hitchhiker climbs into the vehicle and remains eerily silent, their presence unsettling yet unremarkable at first. But the real terror strikes as the ride goes on. Before the journey is complete, the mysterious figure disappears without a trace, leaving behind only the lingering sense of fear and confusion. What makes these encounters even more chilling is that the driver is often unable to recall exactly when or how the hitchhiker vanished. One moment they're there, and the next, they're gone, leaving no sign of their presence except for a lingering chill in the air or a sense of unease that never quite fades. The stories of the Phantom Hitchhiker are so consistent across time and geography that many wonder, is this truly just a series of coincidences, or is there something much darker at play here? One of the most infamous sightings of the Phantom Hitchhiker occurred in the early 1950s in a small town in the United States. A man named John Miller, a local resident, was driving home late one evening after a long day at work. The streets were empty, the night was foggy, and the silence of the road was broken only by the sound of his car tires rolling over the pavement. As he neared a stretch of highway known for its eerie atmosphere, John saw something out of the corner of his eye. Standing on the side of the road was a woman with her thumb out, asking for a ride. At first, John hesitated. It was well past midnight, and the stretch of road was notorious for being isolated. But something about the woman's appearance compelled him to stop. She was dressed in an old-fashioned gown, almost as if she had stepped out of another time entirely. Her pale face was framed by disheveled hair, and she seemed exhausted, as though she had been walking for miles. With no other cars in sight, and the quiet desperation in her eyes, John felt an undeniable urge to help her. He rolled down his window and asked if she needed a lift. The woman smiled faintly and nodded, thanking him for stopping. As she climbed into the car, John couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. There was an unnatural coldness in the air, and the woman's silence only made the moment feel even more unsettling. She didn't speak a word as the car continued down the road, her eyes fixed on the horizon. As the miles passed, the only sound in the car was the hum of the engine. John tried to engage her in conversation, but she didn't respond, only staring out the window with an eerie, distant look. The silence seemed endless, and John felt an overwhelming sense of unease. However, his rational mind kept telling him to stay calm, that there was nothing to fear, that she was just a lost traveler in need of assistance. But as they neared John's destination, something terrifying happened. The woman, who had been sitting silently in the passenger seat, suddenly vanished. No movement, no warning, she was simply gone. John slammed on the brakes, looking around in disbelief. The seat next to him was empty, and the fog had become thicker, making it impossible to see more than a few feet ahead. He frantically searched the car, his heart racing, but there was no sign of her. She had vanished into thin air. Shaken and confused, John drove on, convinced he had imagined the whole thing. But the feeling of unease lingered, and he couldn't shake the memory of her pale face and silent presence. The next day, he went into town and told a local shopkeeper about the encounter, unsure of how to process it. The shopkeeper's reaction, however, was anything but surprised. "You're not the first person to see her," the shopkeeper said with a knowing look. "That's the ghost of Sarah Collins. She died in a car accident on this very stretch of road over 50 years ago, right around the same time you were driving." The revelation left John speechless. Sarah Collins had been a young woman who had died tragically in a car accident on a rainy night many years ago. Her car had lost control and crashed into a tree, ending her life in an instant. The story of her death had been buried in local history, and her name had become little more than a whispered legend. Yet, somehow, her spirit seemed to linger on that stretch of road, still searching for a way to cross over or find peace. The Phantom Hitchhiker phenomenon is not just a single incident, it's a well-documented ghost story with reports of similar sightings around the world. Travelers have shared stories of seeing hitchhikers who vanish in the blink of an eye, and some of these encounters are so eerily similar that they can't be brushed off as mere coincidence. From the foggy backroads of Europe to the isolated highways of the American Midwest, people continue to experience these chilling encounters. There's something unsettling about the consistency of the stories. No matter where or when these sightings occur, the details often match perfectly. A lone hitchhiker appears on a quiet stretch of road, the driver offers a ride, and then, without warning, the hitchhiker vanishes, leaving nothing but an unnerving silence in their wake. Some even report hearing strange sounds in the car, such as the faint sound of a voice or a soft whisper, only to realize that they are alone once more. Some paranormal experts believe that the Phantom Hitchhiker may be a type of earthbound spirit, unable to move on to the afterlife due to some unfinished business or unresolved trauma. Others suggest that these sightings may be a form of residual hauntings, echoes of past events that replay themselves over and over, like a broken record. Perhaps these spirits are trapped in a loop, forever seeking help or trying to communicate with the living. There are also those who believe that the hitchhikers are warning signals, messages from the beyond meant to remind us of the fragile nature of life. Perhaps the hitchhiker's disappearance is a reminder that death can come without warning, and we must be cautious of the unexpected encounters we face. Whether you believe in the supernatural or not, one thing is for sure, the Phantom Hitchhiker remains one of the most puzzling and chilling real-life ghost encounters to this day. And as long as there are empty roads and lonely travelers, it's likely that the mystery will continue to haunt our imaginations for years to come. These ghostly figures, whether trapped souls or something more, remind us that the world is full of mysteries we may never fully understand. So the next time you find yourself driving alone late at night, be cautious. You never know who, or what, might be waiting on the side of the road. Until then, stay safe, stay curious, and keep your eyes on the road. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this eerie tale, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more spine-chilling stories. See you next time.